Shmak, Rabbi Sai. Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Leilu Nishmas Chaim. We are in a double header. Today's Daf Vav, and when shiur is over, Be'ezer Hashem, we're going to do Daf Yud, which is fantastic. I got it, the Gemara. It's very geschmack. Whoever wants to stick around, great. Not. Chaim Prelowitz. What a siyum we had last night in Brooklyn. The Karliner MDY Hasidim had a beautiful siyum last night in Brooklyn. Your big fan, Yochi Shor, who had a baby boy 4 days ago, made his way from Lakewood to the siyum since he's the recruiter in Karlin, and he actually brought over a carbon nazir, a meat board, Belaz. He even got 5 new Karliners to join Sotah. We then had the covet to have Peretz Chaim Levin address our siyum. Rebelli, B'Shem, the whole Olam, we want to thank you for changing our lives. A life without the daf is a whole new world. A life with the daf, A life with the daf is a whole new world. Your Daf Yomi Chasidim attaches a good morning. Rabbi Sai, get over here. Let's see if we can get some audio here.
Good.
So over here we have another video.
Cover Nazir, right? It's kind of the cover to see my Nazir. My chashuv friend Yochi Shor, who inspired me to do the daf and taught me how to shmak it is to do the daf. What a carbon and a bottle of wine.
Sorry, but I grilled it, I chopped it up already. But it was once a carbon.
Wine and meat. Wow.
There's Zechariah, everything.
A meat board. Wow. Yochi.
MDY style.
MDY style.
Right. Let's dig in.
Valdik. For Lubavitchers, Chabadniks on the Chidon Kol HaTorah Kulei trip. What is that? What's Kol HaTorah Kulei trip? What is that?
It's on the Sefer Mitzvahs of Rambam.
So you guys finished it? You made a siyum on the Sefer Mitzvahs of the Rambam. Very nice. With 3 of the Chabad MDY yarmulkes from Chicago. You have one of those yarmulkes to show me? Let me see what it looks like. Wow. MDY. They took the MDY logo and they made it their own. I know, I see 770. Yivaldik. The 3 with the Chabad MDY yarmulkes are from Chicago, the others from Crown Heights. Kantsiva Hashem's HaBracha. P.S. Those are the 3 Lubavitchers that you mentioned the other day. Shkoyach. Rebelli, thank you for all you do. Someday we'll meet and I can happily share my appreciation. Have a wonderful Chag. One simple question. Can you release some of the dafs over Yontif early so it's easier to keep up? Thanks. Izzy Elephant, Woodmere, New York. So talking about Yontif, last night we did daf Tes, and tonight we're doing daf Yud. Hopefully we'll be able to release it a little earlier than usual. But again, to remind the Olam, Yontif is a big Nisayin. That's when a lot of people fall off the bandwagon. So the first thing is try to keep up with the daf. There's plenty of time over Yontif to chap around a daf. But if chas v'sholem you fall off, don't let it ruin your entire daf experience. So you missed 3 daf, you could even miss 7 daf. You continue on with the rest of the olam and everything will be great. So Rabbi Yisai the Koilo is sponsored by Anonymous from Lakewood. The Koilo is sponsored by Reuven Klein in honor of my daughter Aliza becoming a college at Chaim from Toronto. The Paris HaChodesh, Leilu Nishmas Chaim Elefant, Chaim ben Ya'akov Shmuel, Zechraya Bracha by his Westside friends. Paris HaChodesh, Leilu Nishmas Chaim ben Mashe. Paris HaChodesh, the MDY Family, Leilu Nishmas Chaim Oren, Zechraya Bracha ben ybl'c Chaim Eliyahu, the 1-year-old. The Paris HaChodesh, Leilu Nishmas Chaim bas Yosef. Paris HaChodesh, the entire MDY family, Leilu Nishmas Avraham Mנשה ben Moshe Aryeh. That is Avi Mandelbaum, Zechraya Bracha. The Nichum Avelim, not a Bacher. Oh, it is a Bacher. So hold on a second, we'll get there. The Parnas of the day, brother of MDY, or Menashe Blaustein, sponsored by the official Mishnah. Nichum Avelim, HaBacher, Menachem Chaim Zev Olav Shalom, Ben ybl'c Chaim Moshe Shmuel Shlita, HaBacher Menachem Blaustein, Olav Shalom. Oh, die. And the art of the month is for a complete refuah for Chaim Tzvi ben Leah. Boys, here we go. So Daf Vav is more of a Gemara type of Daf. Daf Yud is very much Agadata. We are holding in the middle of a sugya. And if you see the chart over here, the Gemara yesterday was telling us what is the reason why, if a woman is a Sotah, her husband warned her not to seclude herself, and then she secluded herself, she's a Sotah, and they're about to go to the Beis Hamikdash to test out the waters. And then the husband dies. So the halacha is she doesn't fall to yibum to her brother-in-law. She doesn't fall to yibum to her brother-in-law. Why not? So one shot we had yesterday, that's the din. Second shot is, look, she's a woman who destroys homes. She's going to destroy this guy's house. It's not a good idea. And now we're going to say, look, the Torah calls the guy that marries her acher, a no goodnik for marrying her. So why would we force this upon the yavam? So we're holding on top of Vav Amud Aleph. V'ikid Amri, the last word on the first line. V'ikid Amri, Omer Rav Yosef HaKosav Karoi Acher. When the pasuk is referring to somebody else who marries this woman, he's an acher. It's not a nice lashon. The first guy tried to depart and get rid of this risha, this bad woman, and another man married her legally, but she's no good. She's not good zchira. So we have a third shot over here. Actually, I like this better. I don't know if Avrami just fixed it, because yesterday I was much smaller. See what he does in seconds. We miss you, Avrami. Welcome back. He's in Houston. Now it's all smooth sailing, Beis Hashem. So what are you telling me? You're saying that the Torah is saying whoever marries her is not a good person. He's an acher. You're putting fault on the other guy. Forget about this woman who's a bad woman. But whoever marries her, so says Abaya elameato nisas la'acher umeis b'lei banim. So this guy marries her. A no goodnik married her, and the second guy dies without children, like this yabim. You shouldn't do yibum for the same reason that this yavam, who's the brother of the guy that warned his wife not to seclude, we also said he shouldn't do yibum. Why shouldn't he do him? Because he's an acher. We don't want him to be acher. But if there's another acher, a stranger in the world that married her, and he dies without children, he's the same acher. So he shouldn't either have any yibum going on after he dies. His brother shouldn't be miyab. Says Gemara, so the Gemara says like this. When a woman secludes herself with another man, she's a bad person. Immediately afterwards, you don't want to marry her. But if somebody goes ahead and marries her, and then they lived together for I don't know how long, and then he died, by that time maybe she did tshuva. Now we're already talking about a different person. Now, she had a good marriage with the second guy. Yes, she was a no goodnik with the first guy, but now with the second guy, she's a good. So therefore, maybe her brother-in-law should be miyabim. He should. Rav Amar Kavachoymer. And this is what I was talking about yesterday. This came to me right away. This is the first thought I had when I learned the sugya. Imnes Rabbi Mutter, what happened? Ruvain warns his wife, don't seclude yourself with Pliny. She doesn't listen. So she becomes usher to her husband. She's a Sotah now. Until they do the waters, she's usher to him. And then he dies. The brother-in-law, who never was allowed to marry his sister-in-law, so now he should be mutter to marry the sister-in-law. Reuven and Shimon are brothers. Reuven is usher on his own wife. He married his wife Beheter. Now he's usher to her. Why? Because he warned her not to seclude herself. She's a Sotah today. He drops dead. He dies. He goes bye-bye. So you want to say that she should be mutter to the brother-in-law? How can she be mutter to the brother-in-law? She was always usher to the brother-in-law. And now you want to say that there's a special heter to marry her, to be miyaber, but why is the brother any better than the brother that died? Even Reuben, the original husband, became asset his own wife, but the brother-in-law, who's typically asset to sister-in-law, certainly she should be asset to him. So Abaye, with that logic, you want to make kavachomers like that, so let's make another kavachomer. So the pasuk says like this: Almana ugrusha v'chalola zoyna. I say we're talking about a kohen gadol here. A kohen gadol cannot marry these four women: an almana, a widow, a grusha, divorcee, v'chalola, a woman who's a chalola. We'll see what a chalola is soon. A zoyna. The ones in green, every kohen can't marry those green ones. But a kohen gadol has a fourth one, the almana. He can't marry a widow. A regular kohen could marry a widow. Says the Gemara, what happens like this? You have a kohen gadol who's married to an almana. And then the kohen gadol dies. Now, when he marries the almana, he's mekadosh the almana, the kiddushin grab. Even though it's awesome for him to marry her, it's good kiddushin. When he dies, what happens? She falls liyibum to the brother. Comes the brother. Is she allowed to marry the brother? Yes. Why? Because the brother's a regular kohen. A regular kohen can marry an almana. Says the Gemara, says Abaye, but I have the same question you said before. This woman should not be able to do yibum, and we know the halacha is there is yibum. Why? If she is also in the kohen gadol, we're using the same logic that you said, Rava. I'm proving to you, Rava, your logic is wrong. Based on your logic, if she's also to her first husband, so certainly she should be also to the second husband. Says the Gemara, that's not a good kasha Abaye. Why? Nesra, Hasiri Kaima. She didn't become usher on her husband. This Sotah became usher on her husband. They got married in 1990. It was a great wedding. Everything was kosher and yasher. Many years later, her husband suspected her and warned her, and she secluded herself. Then she became usher. But over here, this woman, she's an almana. She never, for 1 second, was allowed to marry the kohen gadol. So she didn't become usher. She was always usher. Mutter law. You telling me that the kohen gadol is mutter to her? Usher law. He was always usher to her. So it says, Abaye, you know what? Let me change around my kavachomer. Eliash's kohen shenensa v'meis. Here's the story. A regular kohen who's married to a woman. And here's a very sad halacha. If somebody violated the wife forcefully, the wife becomes usher to the kohen. Any kohen, even bisman hazeh, whose wife was violated, he can't stay married to her, unfortunately. It's a very sad halacha. Now, this kohen has a brother. This brother had the same father, but another mother. And the mother, let's say, was a grusha. She was divorcee. What does that make her son? A chalal. So, check out what happens. The original husband dies. We'll put him to the side for a second. And here comes his brother to be miyabim. Now, he's a chalal. A chalal can marry her. Even though she was violated, look, in a regular marriage of Yisrael to Yisraelis, if the Yisraelis was violated, she can remain married. This is a special halacha by kohen that they can't stay married. But a chalal is like Yisrael. So asks Abaye, based on your logic, she shouldn't be able to remain married to the Mr. Chalal with the knapsack. Why? If she became usher, so over here, look, if you go back to this sad story, over here they were mutterly married. I just made up a word. Mutterly. They were married beheter, kosher marriage. Later on, something happened. Somebody violated her, and she became usher to her husband. So that's mamish what we're talking about. It's like a Sotah. She became usher later on. So if the husband, the Nebuch, on the right over here, became usher to his own wife, So the brother-in-law, the chalal, who's always usher to his sister-in-law, while his brother is married to her, so certainly you should remain usher to her. And we know that's not true. Says the Gemara, I'll tell you why it's not true.
Did he violate and she died? And he died?
Somebody else violated her. Somebody else, not her husband. Then the husband died. Then the husband. Says the Gemara, Oynes b'Yisrael mishra shari. Says the Gemara, beautiful. We had the Svar in Dharam. The fact that a kohen is usher to his wife, who was violated, there's nothing wrong with the wife. Why is she usher? Because the kohen has a special kedusha. It's a problem in the kohen, so to speak, not a problem in the woman. Not a problem in the woman, right? In other words, you see, if the same woman was married to Yisrael, they can remain married. So it's not a problem in the woman. The problem is that the kohen has a special kedusha, and this chalal doesn't have that kedusha. So Mamela, he's taking a perfectly kosher woman for himself. So you can't compare. We're starting a brand new Mishnah, brand new Sugya. The official Mishnah is sponsored Leilu Nishmas, our Chaver, Avraham, Mנשה, Ben, I don't remember the name anymore, something Aryeh, no? So this is what Yoshi worked on until 3 a.m. his time. Because I would like to, we have the famous chart of Trumas HaMaisros, and I want to animate it a little bit. So this is step one of the animation. We'll make it better. This is what he was able to pull off in a few hours from changing over the house for Pesach, and I kind of forced him to do this. He wanted to go somewhere else. I said, no, we got to start working on this Trumas HaMaisros. So here goes. Avraham, Mנשה, ben Moshe, Aryeh, Shom should have an Eliyahu. Here you have on the left, you have a farmer. He has 100 apples, 100 fruit. The rice we're talking about, wheat. Okay, we're not going to get it. Let's call it apples. He takes, out of the 100, he takes 2, and he gives them to the kohen. That's called Truma G'dayla. He takes 10% of whatever's left of the 98, we'll call it 9.8, 10, and he gives those 10 to the Levi. Okay? That's Truma, and that's Meiser. 2%, approximately, could be even 1 kernel. The Rabbanan, it's better to give 2%. Depends if you're large, stingy. But 10% to the Levi, that's 10%. That there's no. Okay. Now, Trumas Meiser, the Levi, right? The Levi has 10 apples now in his hand. The Levi takes from his 10 apples. He takes 10%, and he gives it to the kohen. So that's called Trumas Meiser. It's the Truma that comes off the Meiser that he received from the Yisrael. The Yisrael gave him 10%, that's Meiser to the Levi. Now the Levi takes from his Meiser a Truma. A Truma is like 10%. So he gives the kohen 1 apple out of his 10 apples. That's Truma. Great. So Be'ez Hashem will make this a little better, a little bit more interesting, but that's the basic thing that we're going to have from now on for Trumas HaMaisros. Maybe we could still use our boring chart, but it's good to have it in animation. Did you guys learn anything from this, or it's the same exact as you understood it before? Same exact? It's okay to say the truth. Huh? Same exact?
Easier with animation than with charts.
Easier, but did you learn anything? Did you learn anything, AB? Nothing. Yeah. How about you? All right. When's the Siyum? Tomorrow morning?
No, Wednesday.
Oh, Wednesday. Come here for a second. Get over here. This is Tomer Levy's nephew. Shalom Aleichem. What's your name? What?
Shua.
Here, we got to get. Oh, good. Shua. How many Masechtas are you going to be making a Siyum Erev Pesach? You're a B'char? You're not even a B'char. You're making 2 Siyumim. On 2 Masechtas? What? What are you doing? What is it? Tainus and what else? That's it. I'm on it. Just one Masechta.
I just finished Nazir.
You just finished Nazir. So how come you didn't leave that for the Siyum? You don't need to do two. You don't want to be a show off. So Nazir was this past Thursday, right? And Tainus Lekavit. Oh, because you did it with MDY kids. How old are you? 11. And when did you start learning with us? Sukkah? Megillah. What is that? How long was that? 2 years? So Bai's Bar Mitzvah is going to be more than halfway through Shas. Maybe 2/3 through Shas. But he's going to have to come to the MDY for his Bar Mitzvah then. All right. All right. 11-year-olds learning Masechtas. So this animation didn't help you at all. You know what Truma Samayis are. Yeah, of course. Okay. Says the Mishnah. These women are also to eat Truma if they're married to a Kohen. If a woman admits to her husband that she was Mizana, she's Tameh, or witnesses came forward, she Tmeya, she no longer is privileged to eat Truma. And if a woman says, you suspect me for being Mizana, I'm not going to drink those waters. What do you think? I'm stupid? You think I want to explode in front of everybody? I'm not drinking the water. So she goes out without Iksubo, divorces her. So look at this pasuk over here. There's a chiyuv for the husband to bring his wife. Now, if he doesn't bring the wife, no one else can bring her. It says v'hevia ishas ishtoi. It's a chiyuv on him. Bezdin can't bring her to the Beis Hamikdash. So Amela, if the husband refuses to do it, he refuses to see his wife explode in front of everybody. Another pasuk. It says v'niko ish ma'avai. The husband also can't have any sins. In order for the water to work, he has to be also without sin. One of the averos he could do is to be with his wife, to have relations with her after she became usher to him. So Mela, the water, so all these women, they don't eat truma. Says the Gemara Rav Amram, Hamilsa Omarlon, Rav Sheshes told us this halacha. Va'anerlon, Einin mimasnisin. And we were able to open up our eyes to derive it and to see this halacha from the Mishnah. Now, I was told from Menachem Mendel Fenster, and then later on I saw it in the Schottenstein in the Art Scroll, that this lashon is exclusive to Rav Sheshes in all of Shas. And Rav Sheshes was blind. So the Gemara uses this lashon to say that even though Rav Sheshes was blind, but he opened up other people's eyes to see the truth from the Mishnah. And it's very interesting, because many times we have this in life, that we have something right in front of us. It's right there. And if you don't pay attention and you don't open up your eyes, so to speak, you don't notice it. There's nisim, v'neflois, there's hashgacha pratis, many, many things that you have to focus and pay attention. And when you do, you see, wow, here it is in the Mishnah, but we didn't notice it until Rav Sheshes came along and proved it to us. And this is a halacha that we're going to be discussing a lot tonight, or this morning, I should say. This morning. Now what? Sotah sheyeshlo edim b'medinas hayom. If there are witnesses that she was mizana, but they're not here, they're somewhere else. Ein hamayim boitkin oiso. Says Rav Sheshes, halacha. If there are witnesses somewhere, somehow, even though they didn't come forward, but people witnessed this, Maisa, the waters are not going to work. She won't explode.
What Bezdin here doesn't know about them. No one knows about them.
No one knows about them. They know about themselves. They saw something and they disappeared. My time. So he brings a raya from the pasuk that we already used, that there's no aid. But if there's an aidim somewhere, somehow, so even in Medinas Hayam, it doesn't work. The The pasuk seems to say there's nobody that knows about it. But if somebody knows about it, it doesn't work. It says that a woman, that Adam came later on to testify that she's tummy. It says Rav Sheshes, wait a minute. When did they show up? If they showed up before she had a chance to drink the water, they are telling us that she's a regular Zoyna, she's Mizana under her husband, divorce, there's no water, there's nothing. Why would she drink? There's no drinking water at that point. If there's Adam that testify 100%, it's not you drink water when there's a suffix, to get out of the suffix. You don't drink water when you know for sure what happened. Must be that she drank the water. And the Adam showed up. Now what? But wait a minute. She drank water and she didn't die. She didn't explode. But why didn't she die? She's Mizana. I'll tell you why she didn't die. The water doesn't work when there's Adam that saw it. If you tell me that it doesn't work, everything makes sense. But if you tell me that the water will still kill her, even though there's Adam somewhere, so how's it possible? Something's wrong here. She's alive, the water didn't work, and we have two people testifying that she's Mizana. You know who's wrong? The water's not wrong. Those people are lying. Says Yosef, no. I can explain to you. The water does check. New concept of Rabbi Yisai. If a woman has a special schus, she did something, I don't know what, some special chesed, I'm not sure, we'll see. The water we'll see in a second what happens, but there's something called toila, it doesn't work right away. And the Gemara says, what does Rav Sheshes argue on Rav Yosef? Rav Yosef says, no, that it's possible that the water did check her, just it's going to push it off. And Rav Sheshes says, no, why not? B'misnavno, the Rebbe, they have a machlokes misnavno. What does that mean? It's not. Rebbe Omer, schus toila b'mayim amorim. If a person deserves a special schus, she won't die right away. However, immediately she stops giving birth and she stops improving. From that day on that she drinks the water, she withers down slowly. You could see instantly a change in her body. She starts going down and down and down and down and down until poof. And she's going to explode eventually. But it's on a delay. It's a ticking bomb. Rav Sheshes savar, but Rav Sheshes argues and he says, Bein l'Rebbe, Bein l'Rabbanon, have a misnavno. Says Rav Sheshes, everybody agrees. I disagree with Rav Yosef. There is no machlokes in a snavno. Everybody agrees that from the point on that she drinks the water, she's going to deteriorate. Oh, that's a good word. Deteriorate. And over here, that there's no deterioration, there's nothing going on with her, must be because there's Adam in Medinas Hayom. There must be that there's Adam. That's my proof, says Rav Sheshes. Because everybody holds that once you drink the water, there must be a nivnov. There must be some sort of weakness in the body that's visible to us. And how come there's nothing going on? From here, I say, Rav Sheshes, I have proof that there must be Adam somewhere else in the world. What else could be the reason? It's very interesting that according to Rav Sheshes, the machlokes is, how does she die? According to Rav Sheshes, the machlokes and how she dies. What is the machlokes according to Rav Sheshes? We have Tanakama and another. What's the machlokes? If everybody holds that there's nivnov, that there's a deterioration in the body, so is the argument. The argument is how she dies. She will die. But does she explode? Did anybody see that video of the pre-1A teacher, the kindergarten teacher, with the balloon? She showed her whole class how it explodes. Okay, maybe I'll bring it one day. Great video. So, according to one sheet, she explodes like a Sotah. The other sheet, no, she'll just drop dead from a car accident. But not like a Sotah. Fine.
Does A-9 both also?
Huh?
Does A-9 both also? Because why does it? Because he holds a my boat.
No. What do you mean a my boat? Kimoisa?
Said a my boat.
But we're talking about in this in Tyler. I'm talking about in Tyler. Tyler, if a person has, let me shut it up. Oh, not this. I shouldn't have done that. Oh boy. Let me just fix it real quickly. Sorry. In Tyler, a woman has a schos. What happens after the schos? Not in my boat myself. How come? What's the machlokes? It happens later. There's nivnov, and then what happens at the end? At the end, she dies from if there's a schos. You're saying in schos. What's the lashon over here? Schos toil b'mayim amarim. That's Rabbi. I don't see in my boat myself. In the toilet, because she has a certain schos, so delays it. But after the delay, she dies from a different thing. Reb Shimon Omer comes. Reb Shimon says, "Okay." Comes Reb Shimon and says, "Oh, I want to push this button. I pushed the wrong one. No, I pushed. Okay." Reb Shimon Omer in schus toilet b'mayim amarim, because Avremi, if you're listening, you forgot to put a mute button on my thingy on the stream deck. Okay. Reb Shimon Omer in schus toilet b'mayim amarim. Not true. If a woman has a special schos, it's not going to work. The Mayim Amar are going to kill her. We're going to see later the Gemara takes it back in Reb Shimon. Listen to this svar. He says Reb Shimon, it doesn't make any sense that if a woman has a special schos, she won't die. You know why? Because it will mess up the whole system. It's not a deterrent anymore. Why? Why is this woman going to be scared to go to the Beis Hamikdash to drink water? She's going to say this, you know how much tillim I said in my life? You know how much duck I gave? You know how much this, that? I'm such a tzaddikus. It was a mistake. Tyler. More than that, when people see that she didn't explode, they're not going to say, oh, she's a big tzaddikus, and she's going to have special children like the Torah promises. No, she's a mershas. You know why she didn't die? Because she had a schos, and she's going to die in 3 years from now. Says Reb Shimon, doesn't make any sense, this whole idea of Tyler. You're undermine the whole thing. And you're going to put a laz on all the women that drank and they were tar. And all their friends are going to say, no, they're actually tamei. All the gossipers, it's not a riot that they didn't explode. They're going to explode later. El Shatolam Schos. The Misa asked the Gemara according to Shimon, what's the difference? Let's say there's an Aiden that saw this happening and they're somewhere else and they didn't testify. All the women in the world who drink and they're trying to prove that they're not guilty, people say they are guilty. Why? Because they're guilty, but the reason why the water didn't work is because there's Aiden somewhere else. So it's going to make all these women look bad. And for that, the Gemara at the end says that it's not shchiach. Nobody's going to be toil on that. So remember this Gemara, and all the way on Zayin Amud Aleph on the top, the Gemara said, no, nobody's going to think it like that because it's so far-fetched to say that two people actually witnessed it and they didn't even come forward. First of all, nobody witnesses anything. And second of all, if they did, they would come forward. Says the Gemara, that's not a good kasha. Why? Reb Shimon Karas. Reb Shimon, with his chus le'talio, edinam le'talu. Reb Shimon is of the opinion that nothing ruins the water. Not a schus. He said, if a woman has a schus, she's still going to explode. And not edim in Medinas Hayom. He argues on this whole thing. Great. Masav Rav. Leilu Nishmas Chaim this Rafas. A mincha, Rabbi side. A person brings a mincha to the Beis Hamikdash. Who's one of the people that brings a mincha? A Sotah. Part of the whole procedure is she brings flour, whatever. We said yesterday, from barley. Terrible, the food of an animal. Now we have to know that there's two steps. Okay? When a person says, this is a mincha, this becomes Kadosh Gdushas Damin. It's a low level of Gdusha. Only a monetary Gdusha. That means that if I want to take this, I'm now hungry for barley flour, I could give the Beis Hamikdash $1.50 or whatever the value is, a very, very low value, and take it out of Gedusha. But once I pour this into a Kli Shares, the special vessel in the Beis Hamikdash, then it becomes Kodesh Gedushas Haguf. Okay. Now that we know that, there's two things. Again, Gedushas Damim and Gedushas Haguf. Low level Gedusha and high level Gedusha. These are the minchas that are burnt. Now, we are going to go through a bunch of them. Daf Vav Amud Beis on the top. Hatzlacha of Aryeh Leib, ben Eliza Simcha Sheine Mashe, and Eliza Simcha Sheine Mashe, about Bracha. How are we doing on time-wise, Phil? Okay. For the magid shiur, the members of the HBA Group and the families and their families are made. If a woman says, or they testify, like in our Mishnah. It says the Gemara, when exactly do they come? So, if there's a woman brings a mincha to the Beis Hamikdash and Eidim testify that she was mizana, take it and throw it out into the garbage, burn it. Worthless. But when did these Eidim come? If you're telling me that it's before it went to the Kli Shares, so it's only Kodesh Gedushas Damim, it's a very low level of Gedusha. Let the woman redeem it and eat it. Why should it be burnt? Elo lebasa the Kodesh. You must say that was in a Kli Shares already. It has a high level of Gedusha. Now, if you tell me that the water is able to check her and it will kill her, Alma Bas Mikdash Migravi. So she was in the parsha of Mincha. In other words, she's still available to drink the water. The water could work on her. If it could work on her, then she could bring a mincha. They're connected. You can't bring a mincha, right? You can't bring to the Beis Hamikdash cottage cheese and say, "Oh, this is kaddish." It has to be something that you need. You're in the process of bringing a mincha because you're a Sotah, then it works. But if you put a cottage cheese in a Kli Shares, it doesn't become kaddish. A mincha becomes kaddish. And when she put when the Kohen put the flour inside the Kli, he did the right thing, and it has Gedusha. And therefore, there's no way out of this, and you have to burn it. So ask the Gemara, but if there's two Eidim in Honolulu that witnessed this, and therefore what? The water doesn't check her. If the water doesn't check her, she's not going to explode. Then the mincha is what? Equal to cottage cheese. It shouldn't become kaddish at all. You just put flour into a bowl, into a kaddish bowl. It doesn't become kaddish. You came to the Beis Hamikdash for no reason. The water is not going to help you. We're not going to know whether or not you're mizana because there's two Eidim in Chutz La'aretz somewhere. It was a mistake. And therefore you should be able to redeem it. It's not going to go out the chulin stam free, but since it's only Kodesh Gedushas Damim, not Gedushas Aguf, because what you put into the Kli Shares is nothing, you should be able to redeem it for its monetary value. Omar Rav Yehuda Midiskarta. Listen to this. What happened was she came and she put the flour. She brought the flour. She's a no good look. This one.
She's so good.
She's coming to the Beis Hamikdash as a site that her husband was choshed her. In the Beis Hamikdash, in the holiest place on earth, she went. We're talking about a theoretical case. She went ahead and she was mizana. Now they say, hey, she's a zayna. We saw this. When the Kohen put it into the bowl, he did the right thing. Don't bring me a raya that there's Eidim Chutz La'aretz. No, new Eidim. They saw her being mizana with somebody else, not even the person that we're talking about. Her husband suspected that she was mizana with Reuven. She came to the Beis Hamikdash, she was mizana with Shimon. In the Beis Hamikdash, after they brought it, and that's why you have to burn it. Because now it's already too late. She's a zayna and she's not going to explode anymore. She's a real zayna. He has to divorce her. You tell me a very funny answer that she was Mizana in the Beis Hamikdash. It's impossible. Wherever she goes, you have two kohanim or whatever. They're with her. We're gonna have a Mishnah soon. Tomorrow's Mishnah. They're with her at any given moment. How could she be Mizana? Says the Gemara, she's in some Birchei Kuna Atzmo. Those people that are accompanying her, she's Mizana with them. Rav Ashi Omar going, she doesn't go to the Kovel. What? She's allowed to go to the bathroom. What? You think those Kehanim that accompany her, they're holding on to her head covering? They give her some freedom. She goes to the bathroom. In the bathroom, she's Mizana. That the Eidim testified, there was an Eidim that saw that she was Mizana with the original Sotah. The husband said, warned her not to seclude herself with the Reuven, and that's what they were made. You're asking me, why is it that this Mincha has a Kedusha to it? She should be able to redeem it. The answer is, you're right. She should be able to redeem it, theoretically. But when the Rabbanim, we don't want her to be able to redeem it, because people don't know that there's Eidim and Chutz La'aretz, and they're going to say, look, I saw the Chaim put flour into this bowl. Isn't that Kodesh Kedushas Haguf? Yes. So how come today I see some random person eating it, and they don't know that it was never Kodesh Kedushas Haguf because it was Eidim Chutz La'aretz? So it's a Gzeira. Mazra Amari, Esra Amari, Nitnis Mechasa, actually Kachabekli. We have a bunch of halachas here. And we're going to go through these halachas. What's important for us is the last final halacha. So if you don't get these, they're very simple halachas. But again, we're trying to get to them. Nitnis Mechasa, actually Kachabekli, if the mincha became tamei right before it went to the Klisharis, then it only has the lower Kedusha of Kedusha's Damim, and you can redeem it. If it became Tamei once it went into the vessel, like a typical mincha, after it goes into the Sharis, becomes the Kodesh Kedushas Haguf, the high level of Kedusha, a Sheretz touches it, burn it. Kodesh HaKaimet. So you take your hand, I have a picture actually. This is when I did the demonstration on the mincha. You put your hand in like this, and you grab 3 fingers worth, just like that. With your pinky, you knock off the sides. Okay. You take that, you put it into a kli. Rashi goes through a whole thing. Okay, I'll say over Rashi. Rashi figured that it's important for here. When a person brings a carbon, a chatas, let's say, to the Beis Hamikdash, there's 4 avodas: shchita, kabbalah, halacha, zrika. First is shchita, yeshach with a knife. Says Rashi, that's going like this into the flour. So when a person brings a mincha, he's doing those 4 avodas. Going like this is like shechting an animal. Okay. Then you take that mincha and you put it into a vessel. That's kabbalah. That's like grabbing the blood that's squirting out of the neck with a kli. And then he walks with the mincha, that's Hatzlacha. Like you take the blood and you walk to where? To the Mizbeach. You put it on the Mizbeach, that's like the Zrika, like sprinkling the blood onto the Mizbeach, says Rashi. Okay. Says the Gemara, he took the kmitza and put it into the vessel. What is that called? Kabbalah. And either the husband or the wife died, you burn that kmitza. Another halacha that's not important for our sugya. If they took the kmitza and they put it onto the mizbeach, and they put it on the mizbeach, and before the leftover, whatever was left over, that's eaten by the kohen, one of the subjects died, the husband or the Sotah. You can continue eating it. Why? We have a problem here. It's no longer a Sotah. There's no Sotah anymore. The husband is dead. She's dead. So something happened over here. why should he continue? Why should he be able to eat it? Why? The whole Sotah is just, we don't know what happened, so there's a suffix. There's not a kapara, says Rashi. We're talking about this removes the suffix. It's a lashon kapara, but it's not a real kapara. We don't have a suffix anymore. So we don't have a suffix anymore. You can eat it. If Adam come and say that she was mizanam, so therefore what? The waters don't work anymore. There's no point of bringing milcha. And finally, this is the halacha that's important to us today. Nimtzu Edim Zomim. The Edim said, the Edim that saw her seclude herself. Let's go back. Not the Edim that we're talking about in the whole. The Edim, the husband warns her, don't seclude yourself. She goes out and she secludes herself, and we have Edim for that. We find out that they're liars. You were on a safari in Africa. What are you acting in China? What do you do with the mincha? She's not a Sotah at all. And if she's not a Sotah, even though the flour was in a klisharis, it's nothing. It's like putting cottage cheese in a klisharis, putting potatoes in a klisharis. It means nothing. Ask the Gemara, what's the Gemara's question? You just told me there's Xeria de Rabbanon. Nobody knows why you're taking the flour out of the klisharis. People see that you put flour in the klisharis, 5 minutes later you took the flour out and you made a bread and you ate it. You made donuts out of it. People are going to say you're allowed to eat flour out of klisharis. And they don't know that, before we said they don't know that there's Edom in Chutzlards. And now we're saying they're not going to know that the Edom are Edom Zayimim. So you should make a Xeria. Anytime flour goes into a klisharis, you can't eat it. Stop, Xeria, like we said before. Says Gemara, no, there's no comparison. Edom Zayimim Ka'amris. You're telling me that in the case of Edom Zayimim, you should make a Xeria. And Zayimim Kol Islu, everybody knows, everybody found out. You heard about these two witnesses that try to set up this woman and bring her to the Beis Hamikdash and embarrass her. We found that they were liars on a safari. The whole world knows about it. If the whole world knows about it, nobody's going to be worried. How come they're eating the flour out of the klisharis? They know that the whole thing was a joke. Fine. Next. Taikav say the Rav Sheshes. Rav Sheshes told us a bam halacha here. What's a bam halacha? That if there are Eidim that saw the znus in a different place, they never came forward, then you should know that the water won't work. Why? He brought a pasuk, ve'eid einba. But if there's eidim somewhere, it's not going to work. Says the Gemara, they're not using the pasuk of ve'eid einba. Why? Because we use that in another sug in the beginning of the Masechta. Use it for other things. That is a Sotah Vadai, not eidechot. Okay. Now what? It says in the pasuk Tahira. So here's the pasuk. So the Gemara learns three things out of those two words. From the vav of Tahira in green, the word Tahira, and the word he. What should it say? Just look at the pasuk. It's obvious. And if the woman was mizana, v'niksov in Israel zara. What is this utahiri? If she's not tamei, obviously she's tar. The words utahiri are completely extra. We have three limudim here, says the Gemara. Not like Rav Sheshes. Rav Sheshes halacha is great. That if there's Edom somewhere, then the water doesn't work. But not because of the pasuk that he brought, but another pasuk. So from the word tahira I say, and not if there's Edom somewhere else. Utahira from the vav, and if she has a special schos, it doesn't work. He muzrois balvana. Interesting lashon. Muzrois balvana means women who, what's the word? They spin wool or whatever. Okay, to the moonlight. In other words, they don't need that much light. They know what they're doing with the machines. In those days they didn't have lighting and all that, so they use the moonlight. What do women that are on all these machines do? They gossip. And they say to each other, you heard about this woman, she's a Sotah, and this woman that. Says the Gemara, unbelievable thing here. If so many people are talking about this woman, that she did something wrong, the water won't work.
And Adam came and said it was also.
Huh?
Even if Adam came.
Yeah, doesn't matter. Well, if Adam came and saw her, that's it, it's all over.
Tuma, but it was Stira.
Yeah. Even if we have the whole process of the Sotah, Kinu and Stira, it's not going to work for the mere fact that there's so many people that know about it and talk about it. No, so we have a pasuk here that tells us from the word Tahira in red that if there's Edom Chutz La'aretz, it's not going to work. Reb Shimon, he the vav loy darish. Okay, we'll give you that he doesn't use the vav, but we still have two extra words here. Tahira he va'ika yesh le'edom in this hayam. So at the end of the day, Reb Shimon does hold that if there's Eidim in Medinas Hayam, it doesn't work. But it says the Gemara, like we explained before, Lo Yishchicha. So people are not going to use this and say, hey, Reb Shimon was saying this far before. Let's go back to Reb Shimon. Reb Shimon says, you can't use Toila. In other words, if a woman has a schos, it's impossible, says Reb Shimon, that she's not going to explode. She must explode now. You know why? Because if a schus works for her, then people are always going to say about a kosher woman that she's a rasha. The reason why she didn't explode is because she has a schus. Or, says the Gemara, of the same reason, people, if she's kosher v'yasher, people are going to say, you know what, she's not kosher and she's not yasher, and the reason she didn't explode is because there's two eidim in chutz la'aretz. Says the Gemara, they're never going to say that. You know why? Because it's so not probable that there's two witnesses somewhere far-fetched that they're not going to use that. Westside have a wonderful now.
5-minute break.
We'll take a 5-minute break.